we're gonna start working on the engine. I literally just put it on the ground after getting the shocks and the front end put together. So just separating these up a little bit to keep the videos shorter. Hopefully a little bit more entertaining that way as well. There's a lot to do here on the engine compartment. So stay tuned and see what we're gonna do. This is day 2 of Labor Day weekend. Still watching the Bristol 1000 on Clear Vision. So the plan today is, first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all this air conditioning stuff. I'm going to remove this air pump down here and get rid of this thing here. This is all going. This air box is gone. That elbow's gone. We got to figure out why it keeps shredding belts. This hose here that connects to the throttle body on this side, I don't think you can see that. It's right there. And then comes out this side. Right here. Down there, that little one right there. And then connects into this solid line into the intake or into the block. It's going to go away, and we're going to go, this line is going to go directly to that hard line. We're either going to wrap it through here, or we're going to go right around in here, which is probably a better way to do it. But try and keep it away from the belt and all the wheels. And I'm going to try and do some painting. I'm probably going to get rid of this mess here. See how bad that is? This has been just saturated with oil for years of running, and so we're going to get rid of it because it keeps leaking stuff right here, and it's like oil. It leaks, ever since I put that cap on, it hasn't leaked a bit. You see how clean that is? So we're hoping that fixes quite a bit of the oil issues underneath the car. We got to get underneath there eventually. I'm going to get like my ramps out, get the car up on top of the ramps. Not today, but probably, well, maybe today. I don't know. We'll see. Tomorrow, I'm hoping to work on the Cherokee because I got to get those rocker arms replaced that are ticking, so that we can try and make sure that we're driving that one down to Arizona as well. But there's still a lot of stuff that needs to get done on this, so we'll see what all happens. Hopefully we get a lot of this done today. Anyway, stay tuned. Anyway, let's get started, and I guess first I'm going to get rid of this air box, and then just start stripping stuff out of here. And then once we get to the part where I'm putting stuff on and changing a few things, then I'll show you what I'm doing. All right, see you in a little bit. All right, well, I have disconnected this from over here. I put these ends on, and then a clamp with it on both sides. This one got one too. Anyway, and then I connected it to here, and it still goes there. I left it a little bit long so it doesn't get too, kinked. That way it stays away from all that too. Did a little spraying with some parts cleaner and trying to clean it up a little bit. It is a greasy pig, and it's just it's going to take a lot to get it done, but it'll get done eventually. So the next thing I am doing is I've got these pieces out. I've got these out. And so I'm going to take and I'm going to put this drain plug in him. Probably easier to see on the other side. And it just goes right in here. All right, and you tighten it down, and I might put some Loctite in there maybe. But I'm going to have to go on Tuesday and get Loctite if I decide to do that. Because tomorrow's Labor Day, and I'm not going to go to a different store because I get a discount at my own. So, or the store I work at, I should say, not my own store, but the store I work at. So I'm going to probably get some thread locker. I forgot to do that today, and then put thread locker on those whenever I tighten them down. I'll probably put them in now just so we can see how it runs. But anyway, that's where we're at. I'm going to start working on getting this manifold off so that we can replace that gasket. And then we're going to start, I've got plugs and plug wires, so we're going to start pulling those off and getting those changed. And now without this big mess here, you know, might be kind of fun. I might pull this out too, because that might help get in here. But get this out of here and these hoses out. The hoses go down from the bottom yet too for it. They're just all kinds of nonsense still sitting here for the AC that doesn't need to be here anymore. So I'm just going to get rid of it. Anyway, including, you know, like all the way up here. I might pull the radiator. I mean, dump the stuff out of it. Dump the antifreeze out of it. Pull the radiator so that I can get the condenser out too. That'll help it cool a little bit better. I know it's going to be hot in Arizona, but, you know, we're going to have to just deal with it. It is what it is. Hopefully it won't be super hot. It will be the end of September, so hopefully, you know, it won't be 120 degrees. I don't know. I've never been to Arizona, so we'll see what it's like. But anyway, I'll check in whenever I get something else done. All right, see you in a bit. All right, so I got those in there, tightened down. I'm getting ready to pull all this crap out. Going pretty good, getting it done pretty quick. So, all right. You know, if you live where we are, if you ain't in the water, you better be stuck inside with the air conditioner. Okay, so I've been working on this. Got the air pump out, right? I got wires all sorted out. I got the AC stuff out, like the lines. I haven't touched the radiator and the condenser yet, but all those are out there. I actually taped the wires for it right there. They're all zip tied up along the top so they'll stay out of there. I covered them in new electrical tape. I was working on this, so I got this loose, right? And trying to figure out what's wrong, and I don't know. So I don't know if we can see, but because I can't get the camera at the right angle. But these two holes right here for where the bolts are supposed to go. Well, first off, the bolts were missing when I started tearing it apart. So I was a little suspicious at first, and I kind of said, "Hey, son, can you go grab me a couple of bolts? Get me some like this." So he ran up to a hardware store to get me some bolts. He's there now. And well, as he's gone, I started like messing around with it, trying to figure out if I could get bolts back in it, and noticed that both those bolts are busted off. Yep. Can't catch a break on this. So I'm going to get that gasket in, I guess. At least so it'll hold up a little bit. And then Well, we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do, or if we can do anything without doing major engine work to it. So I'm gonna figure that out. I'll update you. So I bolted it back on with just the 4 bolts. I don't know what we're gonna do. It's a lot of work to get that ready by Tucson, and a lot of money I don't have right now. So pretty much possibly just running it that way, and if I have to change the gasket again, I have to change the gasket again. I know how to do it this time, not that big a deal. Um, and then after we get back from Tucson, we'll tear it apart and fix it right away. Yeah, there's a couple other things that I want to throw on here, including the air intake, and after that, then it'll be ready to go. So I'm going to get to that, and I'll update you as we get there. All right. We got the new elbow in, a new intake on. There's one last issue I'm trying to fix, and it's this one. I'm either going to drill a hole here and put that in there, or there's this underneath that's really big, but wondering if I can find something where I can step it down to that size and then just put that on there. Got to get that figured out before I can start it. So anyway, it's the next day. Kind of legitimately thought that that I had it done. Packed up everything. I still haven't even cleaned off the bench yet. It's still just full of crap, parts and crap in here. Went inside last night after cleaning up, and then realized, oh yeah, I still have spark plug wires and spark plugs to put on. So on top of that, then I was thinking that I could start trying to track down why that belt keeps shredding. So I guess we're going to look at that today. We get those spark plug wires on. You're going to see how big of a pain that is. I still have to figure out what to do with those 2 back bolt holes. I have an idea, but we'll see if it's going to work or not. Anyway, let's change some spark plugs and spark plug wires. All right, so because this is an LT1 and it has these manifolds on it, see that? How they hump up? They come up and then down to the cylinders, so everything's up and out, right? Because of that, they have some of these that have these metal boots on them to protect them. Now, I'm guessing I could have just bought any of them and pulled them off there, but I thought it'd be a good idea to have a couple extra. So I bought a set from work that actually has these on there, right? So I've got 3 new ones, and let me see. It looks like there's 3 old ones. So I'm going to keep the old ones. I'm going to put the new ones on, and just try and kind of keep this how it's supposed to be, I guess, a little bit. Anyway, I think I'm going to remove this alternator first off to try and get a little bit more room. The spark plug wires are legitimately right back in here. Let's see. I think you can see them right there. This here, no, my hand's in the way. This here, that there is the distributor or whatever you want to call it for this vehicle. And those are the spark plug wires. There's more over here on this side, which is more visible now that I got rid of that air pump. But we're just going to start pulling this apart and seeing what we can do here. This is going to have to come off, even though we just put it on. I think I'm going to pull that coil off there, right here, and clean that up a little bit if I can. You can see how bad these wires were. We still got some grease on there, but it looks horrible. And then this one was just totally, completely corroded on the inside. So was the end of that coil. So this in itself may improve the running of the vehicle quite a bit. Fighting myself now because the impact sockets are just too thick to get in there. There we go. Well, look at this condition. It's just been smothered in oil for quite some time, so we'll have to clean that up. And then we can see that. Look at that. I mean, like where that's all sitting. Get that cleaned up, degreased. It's gonna be a bigger job than I thought. You know, I'm gonna scrape off a majority of this. I'm gonna spray brake clean parts on it. I mean, it already looks a lot better, but you know, some of this I'm not going to be able to get today. I'm going to have to wait till the water pump is off. But a little bit of time, right? That's all it takes. A little bit of time. No big deal. All right, we'll get to it here. So, just showing what a little bit of elbow grease will do. Using one of these and some brake clean, parts cleaner, and it's starting to look good. I'm just going to keep going here. So I was trying to record what I was doing, and the phone isn't cooperating because it's nice and hot out today. It's not as hot as yesterday, but the phone just doesn't like it. So I'm kind of had to stop recording. That's why the video just kind of cuts out there, because the phone turned off. I want to show you what I found here with the spark plug wires. So these are the ones from the driver's side. All of them have little nicks and gouges in them because there was no looming on them at all. So I'm going to guess that part of the erratic missing is from these spark plug wires. Now, when I pulled these out of the box, now granted, these are fairly expensive, even though they're just 7mm wires. Let me show you with the other side. They're already loomed and sheeted. You know, they're all connected together, and they're in order on how they need to go in the distributor or Duraspark. So that's one thing I did notice with these is there's nothing on them. They didn't have anything on them. They were just laying in there. So they're jumping up and down and touching things and getting nicked up and everything. I mean, like, the only one I think that doesn't have anything in it is this one here, and this one literally just plugs in the bottom of the Duraspark and then wraps around to the first spark plug. So I'm hoping that this is going to solve a bunch of problems, bring back a bunch of power. Oh yeah, you know, I never showed this yesterday. I put this little doohickey in here. I don't know if you remember, but this was wide open here. Now I had to open up the top of the throttle body and then drop a piece down in, and then there's screws to that, but it's stuck in the aluminum, right? I am gonna eventually take this out and get some Loctite and put that on there, just so it stays. But this is supposed to help it redirect properly instead of just having those two open spots there. Anyway, kind of neat. I'm gonna change these spark plugs on the driver's side of the car, and I'll show you what we get out of that, like how the spark plugs look whenever I get done. Okay, so I'm gonna get on with it. All right, so here are the 4 plugs out of the driver's side. This is the number one, or the one on this side. I think it's number 1 cylinder. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't look great, you know. But all the rest of them look about the same, just kind of like it's been running rich. So I'm gonna do the other side and see what happens. All right, so it's actually the next night, and I kind of took a break last night and this morning. Had myself a couple of Labor Day cocktails, we'll call it, and tried to figure out what I was going to do with what was going on. Now, I know for a fact the reason that the thing wasn't starting was because of, for one, this thing being in here, and it's not sealed. Now, the company that sent this apparently thought that was going to work. I don't know. There's not even any sealant on this, so I'm not sure how that was supposed to work. Also, besides that, the vacuum hose that goes down to the Duraspark or distributor or whatever you want to call it, that is like a vacuum advance, is the only thing I can guess. It runs off the vacuum, helps adjust where the needs to be timing wise for for all the settings that the computer is telling it. Well, it needs to be in a better place, and me just having it shoved in here and like not sealing that wasn't doing it, so it's not gonna run. The car's not gonna run. It's no different than when I got it and it had a big hole in the top of the elbow, and you had to cover it and it would run. It's no different. So what we're gonna do is, this is a little trick I learned from, I believe, was it Roadkill? I think I was watching an episode of Roadkill. So I'm going to cut this out. Now, I'm going to take this. If I can use this in there to lengthen it out in some way, I will. But if not, it's not that big a deal. I'm only losing, what is it here? About 3 3/4 inches. I mean, it would be nice if I could get that other piece in there. It's about just a little over 2.5 inches. Then we're only really missing about 1.25 inches off of the length of the pipe. Actually, missing 1.25 inches might actually help it out a little bit for where it's sitting. So not that big a deal. I may just leave it all out depending on what it looks like, but anyway, this trick I learned, I believe it was Roadkill. Tape, if you're doing a circular object and you want to cut it, and you need to make a line all the way around, you decide where your line's going to be, and I did it by looking at this. I just went with, we'll cut on this side of the line, and then it'll cut into this hole, but it'll leave a nice solid piece on the other side. I'm going to do that over on this side as well. But the tape, as long as you lay it flat around, right, it's going to be a straight cut. See what I'm saying? Like, I know this isn't perfect, but it's going to be a fairly straight cut. At least I'm going to have an idea on where I need to be. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my death wheel and cut around as I go. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's going to be in the vise when I do it, but that's what's going to happen. I'm going to do it on this side. I'm going to tape on this side and get a nice line on there. and then I'm going to cut. Okay. Let's put another one around before I get too ahead of myself. I'm just looking to lay it flat on there. A little bit closer. Lay it flat on there. And circle it around. See how I'm trying to make sure that the thing is flat as I go, not bubbling up. And they're not exactly perfect, but I'll tell you what. Anybody who looks at this car and says, "Oh, you did a shitty job," isn't looking at the car, okay? Because, you know, the whole car is kind of I'm going to snug that, but I'm trying not to bend the thing. You know, and here's the other thing, is on this, most vices, this is probably a little too large, but most vices here in this have a set of teeth in here where you can put pipe in there, and they're rounded curves just a little bit, so that you can actually run the pipe and clamp the vice. You know, the vice will come around it like that. This is too big. We're not actually using that here. Oop, kinked it. Oh well. It's gotta adjust my helmet without all the hair. That's kind of way too big. Okay, there we go. Alright, now the only thing I got left is to kind of deburr this thing around the outside and the inside, and I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that yet with the tools that I have. So, we're just going to keep moving along and see what happens. I'm going to let this cool down. It's kind of hot. Well, I did figure it out. I got it. Now I gotta clean it out with parts cleaner and make sure I get all these little flakes out of it. And it'll be ready to go back on the car. So I'm looking at this, I'm cleaning it out, and this side is pretty horrible. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Alright. Well, my cut looks almost as good as theirs. Theirs is pretty off and still had burrs on it. I think it did okay. Now I gotta get this into this somehow. I think I'm gonna drill a hole, put it in right there. I think that's what I'm gonna do. There you go, I got it in there. So let's see if it'll run now, huh? Apparently not yet. Alright, well, we're gonna have to keep figuring it out. I got it running, but it's misfiring on 2 cylinders. And so I've been trying not to run it too much. That's why I didn't show, because, you know, this isn't just some revival or anything like that. We got to use this for an event. So, but these 2 first cylinders, which are these 2, which, I'm sorry, I'm pointing out the injectors to the cylinders, but these 2 cylinders right here are not firing. I've tested for signal in these wires, and now I'm getting ready to pull the injector rail off, the fuel rail off, and replace these 2 injectors, because that's the only thing I can figure out is there's just something wrong right here. And why 2 injectors would go or just stop firing, I don't know, but we're going to find out, I guess. it's still doing the same thing. So I don't know what to do here. I'm trying to figure out what we can do next. Apparently I gotta rip a valve cover off and make sure that there isn't a valve stuck or something like that. Well, we will do that on the next video, I guess. And we at least got this one running, so I think I'm going to end this here just for time's sake, because this one is already pretty long too. So hopefully we'll be doing burnouts next episode. Anyway, catch you next time.